I would be among the first to admit that we made mistakes in government. I will be among the first to admit that there was corruption within previous Antigua Labour Party administrations. But I have to admit that the corruption that exists today under the UPP regime makes corruption under the previous ALP administration child's play, my dear people.
I mean, this thing is explosive.
There will be no job losses under the Labour Party administration.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance,
I now turn to the water shortage that has plagued this country for some time. And I say to you tonight that leadership matters. I say to you tonight that the water shortage that our people have been experiencing is an issue that belongs to a different age. And I say too that we have made positive steps in order to resolve the water problem. And I guarantee you that within 14 days, there will be increased water supply in this country.
Let's face the music and dance.
The cornerstone of our general election campaign was the provision of affordable housing. Indeed, we promised 500 homes in 500 days. And we said to you that you would have gotten 500 homes in 500 days. Those with little or no vision said that it could not be done. Well, as your Prime Minister, I say to you that it can be done and that it shall be done.
Let's face the music and dance. Let's face the music and dance.
I mean, this thing is explosive.
This is True Labor Talks with your host, the executive of the Antigua Barbuda True Labor Party.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So nice to be here with you again. We weren't on hiatus, but what happened is we had certain parental duties that took away from my time for the last 2-3 weeks. It's not that we got to bang off at the polls and therefore there's no True Labour Party anymore. So all of you haters who thought that the True Labour is dead, all the well-wishers who were a little concerned, anxious, nervous, thinking that we'd given up on our fight to make Antigua and Barbuda a better place, we're still here. Nedwell, how you doing, man? How you took the bang off?
Aye, man. With a smile, a grain of salt. Hey, good afternoon to our listeners. Glad to be back with you again. As my co-host just told you, we just didn't disappear on you like that. Some other duties that took priority, why you didn't hear from us before. Not only that, we had a real tedious campaign because we had been campaigning for the past year, since last year, February, and we put a lot of time into it. So I was rather tired and I was really glad for that little week off or so. But I'm happy to be here with you again today, and we are starting it all off one more time to give you the true scoop of what's going on around here and hope that we make something of it. Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. What I told people, the election was the 21st of March. What date that was? That was a Wednesday, right?
Yes, it
21st,
was.
22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Yes, so the following Monday, the 26th of March, is when we launched our campaign for the 2023.
That's right.
elections. And we're serious. We have started our campaign. As I said, he had some prior matters that I had to deal with, so he slowed down the campaign for now, but we plan to start again to visit the areas that we didn't get into as we would have liked to because of the shortened length of the campaign season because of the early election. We are committed to St. John's Road South, and all the promises that we made about our community center, hurricane shelter, they are still there on the table, and we plan to execute and start to build before the year is out. There's so many lessons to be learned from what just happened at that poll on the 21st of March. And one of the things is that the electorate, I believe, given the government such a mandate, 15-2, that they're going to be shocked in how little that the government is going to perform in the near future until election time. Because two people cannot call a campaign or a march or a picket for all of Antigua and Barbuda. There are only two individuals. There's one for UPP, one for DPP. If he calls a march, if he calls a picket, either of them, how much people are going to show up? So the people of Antigua, in their infinite knowledge, have decided they did not want an opposition or much of an opposition. And I believe when you have that, nobody checking and balancing what they are doing in office, you will be worse off because of that. And that's the whole of Antigua and Barbuda. What we will say, though, is that we're going to do our post-mortem tomorrow, Monday, on the way the party moves forward, because we haven't met since the elections. As we said, we had some previous responsibilities that we had to deal with. So bear that in mind. There are certain things that we realize on the campaign trail that we will not be making the same errors again. We are building our community center. We do intend to have a place where people can better themselves in St. John's Road South. There's a lot of history on Rose Street at that parcel of land, and that is where our emphasis will be for the rest of this year until that building is built. But it is surprising to me, Nedwell, that what was said on the campaign trail and what we promised people, a hurricane shelter to protect you, your family, your loved ones from a Category 5 hurricane, knowing that a hurricane season is starting in June. And what is happening here now is that the people chose to put on a $20 shirt saying, safer with labor. And
shocking.
You have to keep the politicians to a certain standard. You expect better out of them. But I will say this also, that you expect better out of an electorate who is well informed and looking about the best interests of this country. What they are saying is that you, Mr. Bird, you can build your hurricane shelter and a community center. We know we don't have those social services in this constituency of St. John's Road South. But even though other constituencies have them, we don't have them. We don't have a proper hurricane shelter to house your individual and their families. We're still safer with labor. Based on that, Nedwell, we have to listen to what people are saying.
Yeah.
And that is they don't want a hurricane shelter. That is saying that a community center is nice, but they are safer with labor. So what we have to do is to build what we said we were going to build. But we've got to tailor it to the people who voted for a community center, hurricane shelter, so to better their lives.
That's so true.
Because if this election was called next year, March, we would have had that community center up and running. We would have catered to the whole constituency. But we got 51 votes, and that's like one. I don't even know if that's 1%. I don't even know if that's 1%
no, it's less than
of the vote, right? The majority overwhelmingly said, I'll put on a shirt saying, we're safer with labor. We have ham and turkey. We have a $20 shirt. And we have a motorcade, and they are satisfied with that. So I am not one, I didn't get into politics to force people to do anything that they don't want to do, or to force you into my mind frame or my way of thinking. So what we are saying is that we will be catering to those who want to see betterment in their constituency. To do otherwise will be taking on a whole burden of people who may come because they want to see something new or just want to gossip or see something, but at the end of the day, they're safer with Labour.
Yeah.
You have to listen to the electorate. One of the things I do admire about the British with the Brexit, even though the electorate made a stupid decision to leave the European Union, they still honor them by carrying out the wishes of the voters. We have to honor the voters. We have to respect their vote. The people have spoken. And what they've said to me, not only from the vote, but by wearing the $20 t-shirt with Labour Party shirt, is that they are safer with Labour, even without a hurricane shelter. You're safe. You understand what I believe you have to read into it?
This is so. Yeah. Yeah. By far we had the best message out there. Yeah. We went out there and we told the people what we had planned to do for them. We put up online the plans for what we're doing. And we did all that good stuff here. And when I see that people behave like if it didn't matter. And for sure, you know, it didn't seem as if it matters there, because I remember one afternoon you came to pick me up to going on the campaign trail, and we ran into this lady, and we were on the loudspeaker talking about the community center, hurricane shelter. And she came out in the gap there, and she said, go on, man, go away. They need a hurricane shelter. And then so forth. She said, well, 3 months from now is going to be the hurricane season, so let's see what you say. She said, no, me have my house in Guyana. So, you know, this sort of mindset tells you that people just don't care. You know, it's not what's best for them they're looking at. It's just at the present time, whatever is happening, whatever they're getting, and that will let them talk all sort of nonsense. Because when she said that, you know, I was so shocked. I could not believe something like that could come out of a big person's mouth. You know, hurricane shelter. She saw what happened in Barbuda. She saw what happened in Dominica. And and other places, St. Martin, and other places. And she chose to say that way. It goes to tell me that these people mindset, they have a mindset. And whatever they're getting that led them into that mindset, they're comfortable with that and they don't care about the rest. But you are absolutely correct there. There are some people who voted their conscience and voted correctly. They realized that what we were saying made sense and all that, and then they voted for that. And those are the people that we have to cater for. Yep. We have to put ourselves out to make sure those people are taken care of. Those people are safe during the hurricane season.
Those people have an after-school program.
And all that good stuff.
Where you can go and get information, get informed,
Absolutely.
Raise your consciousness of what has happened in your country, you know, internationally. Lectures,
the different lectures. That's exactly.
Health,
talks and stuff like that.
With lectures on health care,
and all
diabetes and AIDS and all these other
talks,
family planning that can improve your life.
Absolutely.
It is not available in St. John's Rural South, there's no way to have it. Let me tell you one of the things that surprised me. In that a constituency the size of St. John's Rural South, with over, it was 3,227 electors. So give or take, it's 6,000, 7,000 people potentially in that constituency.
That's right.
Right? And when you look at those sort of numbers, that constituency did not have enough government buildings or facilities to conduct the majority of the election in St. John's Rural South. Of the 4 polling stations that conducted the election for St. John's Rural South, 3 of the polling stations were not in St. John's Rural South. They had them at the Otters Comprehensive School in City South. They had them down at Central Board of Health, City South, and PDO, City South. The only center that was conducting a poll in St. John's Rural South in the constituency of St. John's Rural South was the Golden Grove Primary School. That says it to me. If people don't see the handwriting on the wall, you have nothing. You don't even have a building that the government can say to facilitate you better, to improve your quality of life. The only thing you have is the Golden Grove Primary School, over 60 years old, And that is really supposed to cater for the children. You understand?
Yeah.
And that is the reality we're facing. But we're not going to cry over spoiled milk.
Oh, not
that
at all.
was March.
Yeah, it's just
We're in
surprising.
April right now. And we'll move on. And we will grow this organization. And we will remain
to
focused
strength.
on the prize. And more so, any plan. You cannot think of the plan just lasting 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. You have to have long-term goals.
Absolutely.
And that is what we
Yeah.
aim to.
Yeah,
We need to stay focused. All the True Labour supporters, please remain focused. Do not get disappointed. Do not think because we got 51 votes and Sharon got 38 that we're done for. People take a while to change their opinion when they're accustomed to voting one way. And that is the task that we have in front of us. You understand?
Absolutely.
So, Ned, I'll let you sign off on the campaign
Yes,
and the whole
That's fair.
election for.
Oh, yes. As you
General
said,
election.
we are just getting started up again. We are ready to get back out there and do what we have to do. Let the people know what's going on with us and what's even going on with them. As I said, I'm quite surprised how the way that the people voted this time around. They gave the incumbent government an overwhelming mandate to run our lives, and they saw what was happening.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that had happened, you know. With the message that we had, I've listened to the Labour Party coming out with a message saying them flop, them flop, them flop. I've listened to the UPP coming out saying, but everybody must nyam or something like that. and this is what they campaigned on, and that foolishness, and then people gravitated to that. Again, as I said, we have our suspicions that it's because of what they're getting. We have heard of many incidents and many situations where people got lots of things from them. I've seen a phone yesterday. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine came by and said this is one of the phones that he got, and so forth, real high-tech stuff. So these are the things that bought out the people, and I just want them to know that when the money that they got for voting isn't going to last them any time at all.
Yeah.
You have another 5 years to go. And if it even lasts you 2 months, which I am quite
2
sure
months,
it wouldn't,
2
know,
weeks.
something like
Lovely.
that, that's, 4 years and 10 months plus that you're going to have to go through that agony again. And I just hope that next time round, I really do hope so for the benefit of the people. Because if you
for the
notice, if you notice, and during our last days of our podcast before the election, I keep telling the people about mixing up the parliament. This is the only way that you're going to help yourself. When you have different groups of people representing you. When you have one group of people, they all knock one head. They go in there and they already decide your fate. And that's what they carry out. And you, the people, fell right into that trap. But my friends, it's not all lost. Some people voted their conscience for us. We got 50-something votes in the World South. I think our Madam Leader got 30-something up in St. Peter's. And that's good. That's a start. And we are willing to build on that, and we will be going out there from Monday, tomorrow. We're just going out there to meet the people, tell them thanks for what they did, and all that good stuff.
Or what they didn't do.
And what they did.
Well, thank you for participating
Absolutely.
in the general election. It was a safe general election. I didn't hear of any houses
Oh,
burned
none
down,
of that
anybody
stuff.
losing
No.
life or limb.
Didn't even hear no cursing, so.
Yeah, it was so quick. So
Yes.
overall, the tone of the campaign, it was not very negative.
Yeah.
It's just the biggest problem I had with this campaign, and it was alarming, is that there were no issues being discussed.
That's so true.
We have in St. John's Resort a very difficult time with water. That the water is inconsistent when it's running in the pipe. I heard people talking about that before the election. I heard people talking about the hardship that they have to go to a standpipe and getting water, and then water's not on all the time. But when it come time to voting, they didn't really care
I
about that
didn't even
issue.
remember that had happened.
You understand? So
Yes, yeah.
you just keep
What
moving
can we
forward,
say?
man. You
That's
just keep a positive message and keep fighting.
Yeah, we'll be
We
doing
want to move on to another issue now in regards to me. About 5 years ago, in January of 2013, I was assaulted and battered by a police officer by the name of Alvin Thomas. He's now retired. We went to court on which is after the election, right? 21st. So what we went to, was the Monday?
Yeah. Monday after the election.
Yeah, so Monday was what, the 26th?
Yeah, about the 26th, somewhere
Yeah,
around
the
there.
26th
Yeah,
of
it was.
March. And we went to court for trial because I had sued them for assault and battery, malicious prosecution, false arrest, malicious damage to my property. And they never showed up to court. That is Alvin Thomas and Via Brown, the former commissioner of police. So the judge struck out their witness statements and gave judgment to me. We are going back to determine the assessment of damages now. And we will get that sorted out before June, July, I believe. That should be in. I will know what sort of figures they give me to compensate me for the sort of torture that I went through in that dirty, filthy dungeon.
Yeah, that whole dungeon. And it is a dungeon. You don't see that. That's the old time business where they probably used to hold people before they carry them to hang them and all that good stuff or whatever. So it's sort of a condemned cell where you're already condemned, and that's what they chose to put you in. Unfortunately, I was at the hearing. I was there, as you know, and I listened to what was going on, and it didn't even seem as if the judge took that serious enough. You know, it seems as if the judge looked at it as an ordinary happening, and it's not at all. You just don't put people in, you know, especially when they didn't do anything in a place like that. I've seen pictures after that whole thing where you see the condition of that cell, the filth, the water and the feces mix.
Urine.
Oh, gosh, it's horrible, man. Really, really horrible. So, you know, my heart goes out, you know, but I'm glad that it all came to an end inside the court of law. I just hope that the assessment hearing comes up shortly so that we can put a final end to this whole episode.
This whole episode, yeah.
Yeah, and move on. With
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the things you have to realize in this case, right, is that after my matter, there's several other people that went to jail or got roughed up by the police. I remember there was Serpent and Giselle Isaac.
Yeah.
Even before my matter, there was another guy, the Minister of Health, Eugene Humphreys. He also got assaulted by the same police officer up at the transport board, and he settled for $30,000. Now, what I'm saying is that we all need to stand up. All the people who are getting harassed, all the people who are getting a difficult time, you need to make a complaint. You need to write to somebody. You need to get the authorities in to put these police officers in the place. Because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? I could have forgotten about this matter.
Yeah.
I could have said, forget it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not dropping any points.
No, you have to bring it to light,
This
this might just prevent it happening to somebody else.
Somebody else. That is the thing. And I have the ability as a lawyer, somebody who's trained in the courts and know how to get justice. I get it for other people, so I should be able to get it for myself.
Right.
So what I'm saying, I couldn't just leave this matter hanging like this and see somebody else going to that jail cell. Look what happened to those young boys in the Observer.
Yeah.
They went in there, they're not even charged, or they let them go. And they had to be in that cell with all that filth, all that bathroom.
Yeah. It's horrible.
It's just horrible, man. What happened? I am a lawyer. I am trained. I go to court. I speak in public. I'm articulate. But I don't believe that I've given it justice the way those jail cells, the conditions they're in. I don't think I have the articulate. I can articulate it well enough.
No, you can never
tell the public just how bad it is.
What it is inside
and that is
that
what
place.
I can say. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. It's terrible.
Gosh.
But until you experience it yourself, you cannot realize how bad it is.
What it is all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. And very amazingly, you know, it's been quite a while that, you know, I've been hearing about the condition of that cell. It's way back, and it seems as if nobody cares, that they're not doing anything about it. Sometimes I wonder if we were still under the rule of England, if the situation would be better. Because I honestly don't believe that even though they're white people and whatever they are, that they would have allowed a situation like this to get out of hand the way it got out of hand, the way I saw how that cell looked, the condition, the filth, and all that. I don't think they would have accepted that. I
don't think so either.
No, I think that place would be renovated, fixed into
That place
something.
should be shut down by
That's right. Yeah.
the health
Yeah.
department.
Need to be.
Fumigated, clean, fumigated, scrub
Need
the
to
walls
be.
down and so on.
Need to be. You know, that's not
If they
fair.
can't fix it, I'm sure there's bacteria in them. I'm sure there's living bacteria all over the walls.
Absolutely, Wade.
If they can't
you
clean
saw
that
that
place
stuff.
properly, they need to seal it up with rock.
Sure. When
Seal
I
it up.
saw that stuff where my every root in my arm just here would just stand up.
Yeah.
You know, seeing something, I said, that is what's going on in that place. That place is absolutely filthy.
Yeah.
You know, and it really needs to be checked. Somebody in authority needs what I'm telling you, man. With a mandate like what they got, they're overwhelming like that, I am quite sure that nothing is going to be done until coming close to the election. They behave as if they notice, and then it stays like that after the election. If they win again, that's the end of that stuff. So it's going to be like that for a while there. I am just about sure of that. It's not no urgency in getting that rectified. And I do hope, though, that what you did by taking the matter, to the judiciary and get it all sorted
Highlighted
out.
it.
Yeah, you
Need
did
to publicize
highlighted
what
it.
happened to me.
And, that will allow them to do something.
Yeah, so true, so true.
Yeah.
Yes, let's just keep positive and just hope that the judge can dispense some justice
Yeah.
and also put a significant amount of damages, for example, damage to stop the police
Oh, yes.
from
Teach them
treating
a lesson.
Antigans and Barbudans this way.
That's
It
right.
is subhuman treatment.
Yeah,
that
they
we're
need to
getting.
be taught a lesson there. Honestly.
Yeah.
This,
That's the reality. But I'm not going to go too much into my case. I just want to share that victory with the people of Antigua and Barbuda and let them know when the assessments are awarded, we will come back and give you an update. After that, we want to also speak close to police and all that stuff with the police commissioner. Now, I don't want to go into any detail with it, but I think we should mention it because he's a colleague of mine as a member of the bar. I've known him since about 1996 at Holborn College.
Yeah.
What we are saying, though, is that he completely changed the way I look at the law in what has happened. Because I have made complaints to the police station after I was assaulted by a police officer over 5 years ago. And absolutely nothing. There's no. I made a criminal complaint on 2 occasions, and up to now, nothing has happened. And these young men are saying that they made complaints on him. And to me, I just heard before the election that the Prime Minister was waving it off.
Yeah, he was going to
So I don't worry
brush
about
it
that.
under the carpet and deal with
He's
that
just
stuff.
saying, sexual harassment is nothing important.
Yeah.
And that is the part I want to talk about. I'm not going to go into what Wendell did or
No,
didn't do
none
one
of
thing.
that, none
But
of
I'm
that.
saying
I
the
wasn't there.
Prime Minister's attitude was, this is just what boys being boys.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And it was
That's
very
frivolous.
disrespectful to these officers.
Very much so.
Because it wasn't one, it wasn't two. From what I understand, it was three
officers,
individuals
yeah.
made a
Three,
claim
yeah.
on the same individual.
3 recruits.
And the Prime Minister, if he doesn't know any better, or he doesn't know what is at stake here, keep quiet. But he's on record to say, that's nothing too important.
That's what he told her. It's just,
It changed my outlook, I'd say, because I have been in a position where I have made complaints to the police, and up to now, nothing has been done. And to see these young guys were making these complaints about the commissioner, and it almost went the same way.
That's right.
It just
Yeah,
went
yeah.
quiet. Just went quiet.
That's what they intended to do, to brush
That's
it
what they
under,
intended to do.
to brush it under the carpet.
Yeah.
But then there was a little bit of outrage when people. But you see social media right now really is just helping out the situation there. Because in time gone back, you see, that could have been just gone under the carpet and nobody hear about it anymore. But with social media, you have people posting things day after day. The people that the things that happen to are making their comments and on the social media. So people are keeping abreast. And, there was an outrage because people really can't believe that this is a person who was hired to protect you. And
Yeah.
he becomes a perpetrator towards you. And that is really a horrible situation. So, people went about to just let that go like that. And I gather that's what the Prime Minister and the Attorney General realized. And they decided, well, look, something had to be done. So I heard that he got suspended on the same social media. I saw that. That he
I
was
saw it in the paper
suspended
too.
and all that.
You know what is funny? I was reading an article. Go there, talk later. Let me see if I can go dig up the article.
Okay.
Because I want to look up for the Observer article.
Okay.
Go ahead and say a few words.
So, it's just a situation and to the where people need to be represented properly. People need to be taken serious as to what's going on with them. In Antigua, we have a particular sort of way that depending on who you are, depends on the type of justice that you get and all that good stuff. And, it's not supposed to be so, my friend. Justice is supposed to be standardized. It's supposed to be one standard way of doing things where, look, we can assure that this is going to happen because this is the way the judiciary works. In Antigua, it's sort of a difficult because to come to that conclusion because of what's been going on with people over the years. It depends on who you are, where you come from, who your family are, and that determines the sort of justice that you get. And this is not right at all. We cannot go along and tolerate that sort of nonsense. We live in a civilized society right now. This is the society. Look, right now technology is taking over. It's just high-tech business. People now are thinking on a different level, and people are supposed to be treated as if we are people that deserve to be on that level. And you are still, dealing with people in that primitive way of doing things from way back. This is almost like how Master would have dealt with us. Like, oh man, by the way, he is like a slave boy. We come and make complaint. Not supposed to be like that. Each one is supposed to be taken serious as to what's going on. It's supposed to be looked into, whatever situation he brings to you. You look into it, you see the merits of it, and deals with it accordingly. But this is not so in Antigua. I do hope that, it's actually changing. I doubt it because of, you see what happened just about 3 weeks ago. The same set of people got back into power, and not only got back into power, they even got back into power more overwhelmingly. They have an extra seat, and that gives them that 2/3 majority to do almost what they feel like. So, my friends, we have to just take our life serious. We have to make sure that we are looking out for the benefit of ourselves, our children, and our grandchildren. What is going to happen to our grandchildren down the road? This is a sickening situation, and it's a situation that I can't believe Antigua people have put themselves back into. Can you imagine if you had mixed up Parliament, the type of representation you will have right now? You will have different people in Parliament arguing your case. You have one set of people, the same set of people who is supposed to be taking care of what you are concerned about, is the same set of people you want to argue for you. These are the people who are not going to even to be too concerned because they realize that they are going to have to do something about what is being said, and they have no intentions of doing it. So we need to we have to get real. We have to know if we really want people to represent us. We have MPs that will represent us the way that we should, and do the necessary things for that to happen. I just still, I'm in shock. I just cannot believe that the people did this to themselves. Because you see,
you commit suicide, you
of course,
mutilate yourself, you take razors and cut your own
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is something like that. I just cannot believe that had happened.
Believe it, Nedwell, believe it. That's the reality. That's the mentality that we're up against.
I do hope
it's
that
not the opponent you're up against, no. It's the mentality of the people that is so low that they continue to hurt themselves. I mean, look around St. John's Rural South. These people could do a lot better. A lot better than what their present circumstances is. And they accept scrap off the tables every 5 years before they face the hard issues and realize how far down the barrel they are.
That's right. And then for the next 4.5 years, they just go through some real
life. Nobody had any concern when they went to vote about the water supply in rural South.
No.
Nobody had problems that they were told us about, that they didn't know when the water was coming on. It goes off for weeks.
No.
They're still have to pay their water bill.
Yeah.
All these are the issues that we heard.
The filth in the community center, the so-called community center that they were supposed to build.
Yeah.
You know, the people just, how they
That is the reality.
Terrible.
And you have to hold them accountable for what they have done.
Absolutely.
This whole politics about, treat them like children, or they didn't know what they were doing,
What?
or they were confused, or they want to cut off their voting finger. No.
None of that stuff.
You expect better from your electors,
Yeah.
from your representative.
Representative.
Well, your potential representative is holding you to a higher standard than you hold yourself.
That's right.
I don't want to switch the topic so much, but I want to go over after the election on Monday, March the 26th. They had an article on the front page in the Antigua Daily Observer. Detainees threaten lawsuit. This was the condition of the bathroom down at the St. John's Police Station headquarters. St. John's Police Station, I mean, yeah.
Right.
Not getting mixed
Right,
with
yeah.
police headquarters.
Yeah.
And the state of the cells, and more so the bathroom. Now, what is amazing is you see the pictures and the filth, and that is what I experienced as I was held 30 hours in the dog cell.
First-hand experience.
Right, I had a first-hand experience. And the cell is bad, but the bathroom is even worse.
Ooh.
And you're right in the corner in the dog cell. That's the one just immediately outside the bathroom. And that's the worst one. That's where I was held.
God, man.
So you smell all that filth coming
man.
in on you.
It's
And the
direct.
stench is sour. It's just horrible. It's inhumane. You can't articulate how bad the circumstances are. But I want to read a section with Mr. Cutie Benjamin, the Minister of Labor and Justice, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And this is what he says. He's a trial lawyer for over 30 years, I believe. Deals with criminal cases. And he did not know the circumstances of the jail cells down in St. John's Police Station. Those didn't exist there a year ago, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. That is the norm.
I've
the
been
condition,
hearing that for a
what
while.
these pictures show.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it says here, meanwhile, as a lawsuit looms over the filthy condition at the St. John's Police Station, the minister responsible for public safety, Stedroy Cutie Benjamin, said he was unaware that the problem was so grave. The minister said he only learned about the situation when he was contacted by Observer Media for comment. Benjamin said he would speak with his colleague Maria Birdbourne, who was appointed Minister of State in the Ministry of Public Safety, Legal Affairs and Labor. She will be there to look after all persons in the Public Safety Division and to make sure that people who are kept overnight or questioned will have accommodations which are fit. I'm going to address this matter immediately, Benjamin promised. No, he was not aware
Promise.
that the problem was so grave.
Promise.
And when they mentioned last year, year before last, about the Mars up at the prison, the same Mr. Benjamin said he wasn't aware of the health condition of the inmates up at our one prison.
Yeah.
You understand? But what I'm saying, I had a case against the police since late 2014, and a defense was put in by the defendants, and they signed it. And they're saying the condition of the jail cell is in St. John's is just fine. It's cleaned every day. It's well cleaned and washed, and everything is fine. The judge asked us to amend our pleadings. Just what? End of last year. I think it was October of last year. To amend our pleadings, I amended my claim form, and the defense was signed by the Attorney General of Antigua and Barbuda,
Who is
Mr. the Honorable Cutie Benjamin, Stedroy Cutie Benjamin,
same guy who is
where
unaware.
he said the cells are clean every day and the conditions are you could eat off the floor basically.
Oh! What you said there? I turned my stomach. I saw the images of that stuff.
Let me see if I can find.
Can you imagine there?
Let me see if I can find the actual
But you
defense
see-
that he signed,
Yeah, boy,
because I
this
don't know.
thing.
They didn't find the individual, the witnesses or the main
But
witnesses
there,
to sign it.
you see, these guys, he promised this and he promised that. These guys' promises, I'm telling you, don't even make much of a difference there. We were promised so many things last election before this one. Not one of them came into effect. promised water will be in galore, 500 homes, either, all sorts of different promises. Which one of them materialized here? So when you talk to these guys and they promise something, you just take that as face value and you just leave it the way it's at. You know, they talk to Minister of State and this is going to happen, that is going to happen. Yeah? No way. These guys don't even care about that stuff. I'm quite sure that when he walked out of that office that day, he totally forget what had happened during the day and what he had promised to do. And I'm quite sure that these promises are not going to materialize. But not only that, it's not supposed to be about promises and no promises. They need to correct the situation. The situation has been mentioned way back into time because I've heard that before, and not just yesterday. I've heard that times down the road, a good period of time down the road. And that's enough time that they should have rectified that situation and make sure they're treating people as human beings and not as animals. This is what I'm hearing reminds me of a goat stable. You know, that little goat pen? That the goat does everything right there and everything just sits right there for how long? You know, that's what it reminds me of. You can't be treating people the way that animals live. And this is what's going on within that whole St. John's police thing. It's crazy how they're dealing with people here. You're throwing people, children inside. You know, as you said, there's so much bacteria that's probably flying around inside that place. You can imagine how much people went in there healthy enough and come out not too healthy afterwards because of what they encountered. Yeah, all sorts of nonsense.
Irritations.
We need, they need to take people's lives serious and not as a joke. And just this way how they went about the election, you see they take everything as a joke. You know, as if it doesn't really matter. You know, we don't know. And we have it. And the people, I've seen comments that the Attorney General is saying to the Prime Minister, well, you know, the people will always vote Labour and all that. And this is what they're banking on. You know, they're not banking on performance. They're not banking on doing the right thing, representing the people well and all that. They just know that they're playing on the people's mindset. And the people's mindset saying, well, look, me born Labour. Me never hear nothing like that in my life. Anybody can born Labour? You born what you born. And then Labour is Labour down the road. And you choose. But you say you born Labour, you not gonna change. How did you born Labour? What was that? Because your parents was Labour, you born Labour? That doesn't make much sense to me, Via.
No, it doesn't. But you see, the electorate has a different mentality. And that is what we're up against. It's not so much the plans and policies of the Labour Party or corrupt Labour. It's
that's
the plans
so true.
and policies in the head of the electorate.
That's that mindset,
They
man.
are
That
not
mindset.
changing no matter what you do.
No way. That mindset is really out of whack. I was on social media today and somebody mentioned, Ned, well, you have been back in Antigua over 20 years. You need to pick up the mantle and lead. But I have to tell them, lead who? Lead what? These people have a particular mindset. The greatest part of that battle is to change the mindset of the people. They have allegiance to someone or something, and if what you are advocating isn't what they have allegiance to is dealing with, they're not going to even listen to you. You understand? We on social media talking about Barbuda, and the facts are there, plain to see. But, you know, people would not even accept what they're seeing. Well, you know, have some, they got the politics. They said, no, this is the fact. And they are not even going down that road there because they already made up their mind. There's a particular mindset where, look, the people who I'm supporting, this is where the way they are going, and we are follow them like sheep with a blindfold over their eye. We're just going to let them lead us, and this is not, because it's hurting some people. When I think about the 51 votes that you got there, those people deserve better treatment. Those people
we have to provide it.
Oh yes, we're going to have to do that.
Extent.
But it should be coming from the government in power, that, you know, and these people voted for these people knowing what they're going to get, And they're bringing other people into their misery because other people voted their conscience and voted what they know and how they know they should vote. And you now got voted a kind of way, put these people in power, and you now have created agony for even the people who had voted correctly. It's horrible. It's not right. It is not fair. And you know, I will keep on saying this, and I will say to the people again one more time, the next opportunity you get to do this thing, help yourself. You need to help yourself and do the right thing. I said to mix up parliament. There is no better way than you can help yourself with representation inside that house than if you mix up parliament and have different arguments in parliament on your behalf. If you don't do that, it's going to be a one-sided thing every time, and the eyes is going to have it. So please, ladies and gentlemen, you consider what we are saying here today. You consider what you did, and you look at what you're going to get somewhere down the road for the next 4.5 years until the next election come close again, and then the pretending begin. They start to pretend like they too want to do something. They're going to do something, put some sugar cake in the road, and fix a little this, cut down a little grass by the side and something, and then you swallow that and go and do the same thing time and time again. It's an awful situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you, please, to listen to what we are saying here today, see if it makes any sense, and you take some time out to think about what you're going to do, how you're going to help yourself, your family, your children and their children, which is your grandchildren, and do the right thing. Because if you don't, the agony is going to continue from generation to generation. As you can see, it's a different generation now who is the leader of the Antigua Labour Party. First, it was an older generation, now it's a different generation. And the whole thing continues. It's just what was happening then is happening now. The way that people are not being represented. And you need to demand some sort of representation for your vote. That is what you vote for. You can't vote for some little handout. I always say, when a man pay you to vote for him, he doesn't owe you anything after that, not even a good job. He doesn't have to do a good job and you can't say nothing if he didn't do a good job or if he's not doing a good job, because you have already been paid for that vote. And you do this time and time again, and you watch the country just falling apart and all this. My friends, we had the greatest intentions for you. As I said, our message going out there was a heck of a message, letting you know that we have planned to put Antigua on the right path. We are going to build that community center, hurricane shelter. You're going to come down there, have after-school programs, have all lectures and all different speeches and all that. And you chose to decide that it's safer with labor that didn't do nothing for you in the last 3 years. Water was supposed to come in abundance. He said that the water situation was something of a different age. Must be Stone Age. But now we are living in modern time, technological times, and you are facing the same problems, and you still decide. And then when I hear people say, man, if a dog is going to be part of that process, that's who I'm going to be voting for, as long as he have on a red, as long as he's labor. He said, what? These are the kind of things that we listen to out there. And, it's scary. It's really scary to know that people can think like that. People are not thinking of the benefits of being represented properly, the country moving on in a kind of a way, and all that. They're not thinking all that.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just looking for the section in my claim. My amended claim form particles of abuse and bad language.
Okay.
Anyway, paragraph... What's it now? Paragraph 9. I state, Alvin Thomas locked the claimant in a cell that was smeared with human feces, infested with mosquitoes, had no toilet, lacked fresh air, and reeked from the stench of urine and feces in the cell and the bathroom close by.
Uh-huh.
This is what was said, paragraph 14 of the amended defense.
That's right.
There were no mosquitoes in the cell in which the claimant was placed. The cell was clean and well ventilated.
Can you imagine?
Signed on the second day of October 2017 by the Honorable Stedroy C.O. Benjamin, Attorney General.
God
So
Almighty.
he knew that the cell was clean.
Absolute. Absolute, as far as he's concerned, you know. Yeah, this one.
Wow.
This is the kind of games that they play with people's life here. You know, this just, to me, it's just a game that they're playing. It doesn't really matter. We watch them do this time and time again because, as I said, I saw in a sort of message on Facebook between the Prime Minister and the Attorney General, you know, that they figured, look, the people will always vote for Labour. And that's what it is. And it's true. Because then somebody said them ban Labour, so them now move. You know, tells you. Yeah, it speaks a lot.
Sad
Extremely
circumstance.
sad, very, extremely sad. And you know, we are talking about that. I am on Facebook, you know, constantly with these people within the Facebook discussion and so forth, and commenting on what's going on there. And then when I see the nonsense that people will try to justify, you know, and make excuse for and all that, it's really pathetic there. It's a horrible situation in Antigua, how people play party politics, even though it's messing up the lives of other people and even their own lives.
Their lives too.
Even their own lives. And where, you know, they insist in doing that there. I'm on Facebook with the Barbuda situation there, and you know, this is just, it's there. All the facts are there of what's going on, what it is. And when you hear the kind of things that people will say, and the kind of names they call in the Barbudans, and how ungrateful they be, and they make no contribution to their own life. I think a custom officer had to come on one time and say, let me put my 2 cents here. Do you know that all the taxes that's paid in, that's due to Barbuda, or that Barbuda are getting from people coming into Barbuda, whatever, are paid in Antigua? And it goes into the Antigua Treasury. And that is actually part of their own money that's coming back to them. People let it appear as if they have no input, nothing at all that's coming to them. Is that it comes from, you know, their own pocket. And, you know, not only that, they are saying that Barbudans cannot sustain themselves and all these excuses they are making there. And I know that all the sand that's been taken out of Barbuda, if Barbuda was in control of their own resource, that it would have added up to much more money that they've been getting from Antigua month after month. So I just don't even understand what the people are trying to justify. They're trying to justify a situation. Are they saying something like, who is Codrington to give Barbuda land? And he was an agent of the Crown. He was an agent of the Crown, and that's what's actually happened. And they are making all kind of feast and fuss over this whole thing when it's not actually necessary. And you know the horrible part about it? It all started in a critical time where we're just recovering from a massive hurricane that totally devastated the whole place. So it was so inconsiderate to start a situation like that, and people just go along and they gravitate to that nonsense, and they get on Facebook and they chat all that stuff there, and it's horrible. It's really horrible because party allegiance is really mashing up this whole country there. So we need to just step back, take a second look, decide what we want for ourselves and our children. If it's, we want to be progressive, we want the country to move on the way it's supposed to and all that, rather than, just playing this party politics, get a little handout, feel comfortable with that, and then that's it for you. That is not right at all here. We need to just check ourselves and do the right thing. The other places, you see how other places are living. You watch CNN News, you watch all this, you see what people defend in life. And this is what people who wants to be progressive, this is how they operate.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen so many people in the United States that they're Democrat and they're Republican, but if something goes wrong, you get an objective opinion. This is what you're not getting in Antigua. People don't do that. They play party politics and the allegiance and all that, and hey, that's what you're going to get in any statement that they make. So, you know, we have to be quite careful, because then you know what can happen. The whole thing can just fall apart like that. You have a government that can do as they like right now. I've seen this situation once before, because then we had one time where the opposition had one member in parliament. One member, and that was a Baldwin Spencer time. And that was a scary moment. You know, but good we had somebody like V.C. Bird Sr. At the helm, who had some sort of rational way of thinking that we know that it still went a kind of a how. It's so uncertain with this individual who we have at the helm right now, the way how he likes to behave, or how he normally behave, and it's so uncertain what can happen and what will happen. You know, and people are not taking these things into consideration there. These are things that you have to look at and take into some serious consideration. The person who you have there, he's an opportunist, and we see that. He takes the opportunity to get land for him and his family, swap land, all kind of foolishness there. And, you know, these are the things that people are not even paying attention to. It's all right with them. Yeah. I don't even know how they go about, you know, letting these things happen.
How they go about voting?
Oh boy, even that, when I see that they voted overwhelmingly for these people to do this same thing time and time again, it shows that it's all right with you. But there, one thing I don't understand, you know, because right after the election, just down the road there, you hear them start to, oh gosh, it's not nice at all, things not good, no. Can't get a job and all them good things. Now you have one washer complaints, and just before the election it seems as if all them things come out of your head, and you just go and do your ignorance to complain somewhere down the road again.
Yeah.
And that's the part I cannot
so many
understand.
people are complaining.
I just
Social Security, can't get
their
money on time, and blah blah blah, and blue. To me, I leave it alone. That is not on our head.
No,
that is on
that's
the
them.
head.
That's right. But I am a recipient of that Social Security stuff. And right now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the election, Social Security money is 11 days late.
Yeah.
And this is the weekend. Tomorrow is going to make 12 days. 2 more days from that is going to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks late there.
Yeah, half of the month.
You know, and these are the people that, some of these, can you imagine how many people that get in Social Security voted for these people?
Yeah.
To do this to them.
Can't pay their bills.
Yeah,
can't
no,
buy
that
food,
stuff.
Have children responsibilities.
And you blindsided yourself to all that and go and vote for these people to do you the same thing again and again.
Yeah.
This is what I do not understand. I don't know what can make people do that.
It is the mentality.
God,
the mentality is of here and now. I'm having ham and turkey now.
Yeah.
I have a $20 shirt. I have a motorcade coming up tomorrow, and I can go and drive all over, and they give you free gas, and you go buy your ham and turkey in the fridge, so you can go cook that the night before, and then you have food on the motorcade, and you have all the drinking, whether it's fruit juice or fruit punch, and you have your beer and your Dudley and your Guinness, and life is great. You're living for the moment.
For
but
the
after
moment.
you have children, you're not living for yourself any longer. You're living for them, for the future generation. And even more so after you hit your 70 years of age. You're not living for yourself or even for your children. No, you're living for your grandchildren and your country overall.
That's exactly
and
what
your aim is to leave the country better than when you were a young person, when your parents and so gave birth to you.
That's right. And this is what it's supposed to be.
And that is what I am not seeing in the electorate.
Mentality is
but I will tell them this. In that, well, you realize you have about, a minute left?
Not talking go severe.
59 minutes already.
We
gone.
just started. Man. Not talking
It's because it's so long that we
this-
have a record in nearly a fortnight, because remember we didn't record also the week
That's
before
the week before the election.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is why it seems like it's so short.
Wow.
59 minutes. What I will say is that unlike the other political parties where they will hold the electorate as some little child, and you can't blame them. That's the way they grew up,
Who you
and that's the
blame, yeah.
mentality.
Oh,
and you
my.
have to work around it, and you have to no. You hold me to a
Yeah.
higher standard
That's right.
of representation than anybody else. That is what I want you to do.
That's right.
To a higher standard than what you are getting from ALP or UPP.
That's
I have
right.
no problem. Because I intend to perform better than what you
Absolutely.
have
Everything.
or thought you would have had
What you're
in
getting.
ALP or UPP.
That's so true.
Right?
What you got.
But I will also hold you to a higher standard, a higher level of consciousness
That's right.
than the nonsense that you went out on the 21st
I
of
did.
March to do.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you come and say that you're safer with Labour, and you see that we are building our hurricane shelter in our community center, you need to tell me how safe you really are. Because June is coming up in 2 months' time. And the predictions from the National Hurricane Center
That is going to be as
in
active.
America is saying that
The
it's going to
season.
be above average.
Yeah, it's going to
I
be
think
as
they're saying
active.
not as many hurricanes as
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
But the potential of those ones that they're having may be just as great or even greater than
Devastating.
what we had last year
That's right.
in September with Irma and Maria. So I'm telling the electorate, when you say you're safer with Labour and you're throwing that in my face, I want to know how safe you are from here on out, with hurricanes looming because of this global warming and the whole change in our oceans and seas
Yeah,
and the damage
yeah.
done by the greenhouse effects that makes us more liable to have Category 5 hurricane
Coming at
devastating
us.
our island.
Communities.
You need to tell me how, in your mind, in your mentality, that you're safer with Labour in St. John's Road South when you don't have any hurricane shelters but over a 60-year-old building.
Yeah.
That is what I want to know from the electorate.
Ah, boy. That's
You
what they
understand?
can't
And that is
answer.
the
there.
sad reality we are facing.
Real sad.
But Nedwell, I want to end it now because we
Wow.
have some other things to do here
Yes, very
today.
much so. Yeah.
And we will be back on Variety Radio. We'll be keep it going from here on out, hopefully. As we said, we had some prior responsibilities that slowed us down, but we'll be back. And True Labour is not dead. We're
Oh,
here, and we're
far from.
committed to completing our goals to benefit the lives of the people in St. John's Road South and Antigua and Barbuda overall.
Absolutely.
Until we come again, take good care. Bye for now.
Bye.
A buzzard took a monkey for a ride in the air. The monkey thought that everything was on the square. The buzzard tried to throw the monkey off of his back, but the monkey grabbed his neck and said, "Now listen, Jack, straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use of diving? Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." The buzzard told the monkey, "You are choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzard right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's so touching, it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." Bree, bree, doo, bree, bree, doo, da 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 da. The buzzard told the monkey, "You are choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzard right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's so touching, much and it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.